Coming up this week on Talk with Audrey, the travel mom, Emily Kaufman, joins me from the brand new Disney Vacation Club Resort cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. Nicole Condon, U.S. Program Director at the Marine Stewardship Council, has information about the work they're doing to preserve our oceans and how innovative fishery management tools are increasing productivity in a sustainable way. And from my archives, Elliot, Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer of Brookdale Senior Living, joins me to talk about the signs and symptoms of dementia and what to look for when seeking support at a memory care community. Actor Holly Robinson Peete started having overactive bladder or OAB symptoms several years ago, and she joins me today to share her story. It's all coming up this week on Talk with Audrey. Insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information to help you improve the quality of your life. It's all about the business of living. I'll be right back. You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. Well, are you planning a family trip to the Magic Kingdom? If so, there's an exciting new option that you might want to add to your list, and is located just a short boat ride away from the Magic Kingdom Park. Joining me to tell us more, the travel mom, Emily Kaufman, and she's live from the brand new Disney Vacation Club Resort cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground with a sneak peek. And of course, she's going to give us her expert advice on planning a Disney vacation. Hey, Emily.
Hi, it's great to be with you. And yes, you're absolutely right. I am talking to you from in front of the brand new cabins here at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. And we're giving you a sneak peek into what's to come because these are absolutely phenomenal. You've got all the comforts of home that you could want. A full kitchen, plenty of space to spread out, the interiors with all of the great Disney magical touches, and set right here at Fort Wilderness Resort. So there's plenty of ways to enjoy the great outdoors.
Fabulous. What are some of the activities and features that people can look forward to?
Well, what I love about Disney's Fort Wilderness is that there are so many activities that you can participate in. If you're a fisherman or you want to go fishing, maybe teach your kids to get out there on the water, you can go fishing. They've also got fantastic kayaking right here on property. You can also go horseback riding. And Audrey, this is home to the Hoop-Dee-Doo, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary. It's the longest running dinner show at Walt Disney World. So there are plenty of ways to enjoy the property. Something else that I really love is you're a boat ride away from enjoying all the fun of the theme park. So you really truly get the best of both worlds, and you're staying at a Walt Disney World property. So there are perks and benefits that go along with your stay, like extra magic hours and the transportation system. This is a terrific way to experience Walt Disney World.
And tell us more about the Vacation Club.
Well, the Disney Vacation Club is something that I think is fabulous. This is their 17th property, and they've got things all over the world, more than 1,000 different locations you can choose from that also participate in Disney Vacation Club. Audrey, I'm a new grandmother, and to me the idea of being able to spread out and have a home base where we can wake up at our leisure, have breakfast at our own pace, have a place I can bring my grandson back to take a little nap midday is absolutely fantastic. And these cabins are the newest addition in the portfolio of Disney Vacation Club. If you want to learn more about the cabins or any of the other properties, you can go to DisneyVacationClub.com.
Absolutely. Well, the experience looks like it's reminiscent of the experience I had growing up. Good old family fun, right?
You're 100% right, and you're really accurate on your read. These cabins are like glamping. They're beautiful with a floor-to-ceiling window and door when you walk in. They're so well appointed, and I'm not a rustic camping girl. I like this idea of glamping, and Disney Fort Wilderness Resort definitely doesn't disappoint.
Emily, how far in advance should families make their reservations?
Well, reservations are available now. The cabins don't officially open until July 1st, but you can get in there and start making your vacation plans right now.
Well, you heard it, guys. Check it out. Where can we go to make those reservations and, of course, for some more information?
You can learn more at DisneyVacationClub.com.
Have a great time, Emily. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. According to a new global survey conducted by the Marine Stewardship Council, consumers are more conscious than ever about how their food choices impact the planet. Nicole Condon is the U.S. Program Director at the Marine Stewardship Council, and she joins me today to talk about the work that they're doing to preserve our oceans and how innovative fishery management tools are increasing productivity in a sustainable way. And she also has a few simple tips that we can all use to participate in preserving ocean life. Welcome, Nicole. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. How long have you been a part of the Marine Stewardship Council? And also, if you would, tell us more about the work that you do there.
So I've been with the MSC, the Marine Stewardship Council, for almost 6 years at this point. And we're really charged in the U.S. with just trying to get the message out there, trying to help the everyday person understand what seafood sustainability means, why it's important, and what we're doing to help.
And of course, we all like seafood, that's true. How can science and sustainability help in terms of improving ocean life?
I mean, you really can't have one without the other. When you're talking about sustainability, you really need to make sure that you understand where you're coming from. So what is the scientific basis behind where the environment currently stands, how the fish are doing health-wise in the ocean, all the other fish that could be impacted, or the marine life that could be impacted by a given fishery, understanding all of that, and also understanding what we can do to help improve our processes over time and what's actually going to drive impact is really important to make sure that we are doing the right things in the right order, to make sure that we have a future where fisheries are still thriving.
Nicole, how are the fish doing? I mean, everyone hears a lot about pollution in the ocean with all kinds of chemicals and trash, and the fish are sometimes at risk. So how do they thrive?
I mean, you're not alone with that concern. As you mentioned, we do this survey every couple of years, and we're finding that over 90% of consumers or people who consume seafood in the US are really concerned about the state of our oceans. There's a lot going on. And with fisheries right now, approximately a third of fisheries around the world are overfished, meaning we're taking more out of the ocean than can naturally be replenished. And that's where, this really great positive work around sustainability is having an impact. Almost 20% of global fisheries are actually engaged with the Marine Stewardship Program. So there's so much going on in terms of improvements, and the MSC is just kind of the highest bar in terms of progress being made. But there are so many other organizations and companies out there who are working on things like fishery improvement projects to really start to make that incremental change. So it's not all doom and gloom. There's so much really positive going on as well.
And when we're buying fish, or say we're eating out, how can we be sure that we're getting the fish that we ordered and not a substitute?
It's a pervasive problem around the world as well. So, when we're talking about impacts in fishing, overfishing obviously is a really big piece of work that we're trying to solve. The other is what we call IUU, illegal, unreported, or unregulated fishing. And a lot of that can lead to replacement, right? So if one fish is worth more in the market, all of a sudden a fish that's not worth as much is labeled as that fish, right? So it's not everybody, but it does happen. And it's not always on purpose. There are just fish that can be easily, once they're filleted, it's really hard to tell the difference between one fish and another. So it can be an honest mistake in some cases as well. But that's where, programs like the Marine Stewardship Council come into play, where it's not just looking at the sustainability of the fishery itself, but we also have a certification called chain of custody. So we're looking at making sure that every step along the supply chain is checked. Every company who's taking ownership of that fish is being checked to make sure that they're not replacing it, that they are calling it what it is. And by the time it gets to the end user who is buying a can of tuna, for example, at a retail store or grocery store, and it has that MSC logo on it, you can be assured that what's in the can is actually what it says it is, and that it's coming from a sustainable fishery.
The Marine Stewardship Council released a recent survey about what affects consumer food choices. What are people concerned about?
Yeah, I mentioned some of this. So, overwhelmingly, people are concerned about the state of our oceans. Over 90% of survey takers are telling us that they're concerned about the ocean. And it's become a top 3 environmental concern for them, along, things like pollution and, ocean plastics and climate change. It's the state of our oceans is really up there in terms of what people are concerned about. And about a third of consumers are actually willing or already have made a switch away from seafood or have replaced part of what they eat during the week to something like more vegetables because they're looking for changes that can have a positive environmental impact. And I think part of what we're trying to do is to hone in on the optimism, right? Because there are so many consumers who also think that the power of their dollar actually matters. And it does. When you're going to a retailer and you're making the choice to pick that more sustainable product, you're sending a message down to the supply chain saying, this is what matters to me. And this is where I want you to end up. I want more of this in the store. So there are, a growing number of consumers year over year who are trying to look for products that match their values. And that is what we're here to try to provide is something that matches what they're looking for, that can, have a low carbon footprint. Seafood is one of the lowest carbon footprint animal proteins on our planet. It's also incredibly healthy for you. It's one of the healthiest sources of protein out there. And it also can be really sustainable. And when we're talking about sustainability, if all these fisheries around the world, that 1/3 of fisheries around the world that are overfished, actually implement practices and move towards sustainability, we can actually increase the amount of fish that we get out of the ocean. It improves the health of the overall ecosystem. It improves the health of the fish. It's just better for everybody. So we're really trying to hone in on that consumer that, who really tries to value the environment when they're shopping.
What can we do, Nicole, to support you and the Marine Stewardship Council in your efforts to preserve marine life?
Yeah, the easiest thing you can do is to go to your grocery store and look for that little MSC blue label. Educate yourselves. You can go to msc.org or follow us at MSC Bluefish on Instagram and learn a little bit more about what sustainability means and decide for yourself what it means for you. One of the things I try to tell folks too is, if you aren't a seafood lover, you just haven't tried enough, right? So you mentioned there's thousands of species, hundreds of different tastes and textures. There's so much there, and it's so healthy for you and the planet if it's harvested correctly, if it's harvested sustainably. So try to make a switch. Replace chicken or beef one time a week in your meal planning with some kind of seafood, and just give it a try.
All right, makes sense. So guys, check out msc.org for more information. Nicole Condon, U.S. Program Director at the Marine Stewardship Council, has been my guest. Thanks so much. You've taught us so much about how to embrace our need to preserve the health of the fish in the ocean and be better stewards as well.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. According to the Alzheimer's Association, the number of people aged 65 and older with Alzheimer's is projected to reach 12.7 million by 2050. Kim Elliot is a Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer at Brookdale Senior Living, and we're going to talk today about the signs and symptoms of dementia and what to look for when seeking support at a memory care community. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, let's talk first about the symptoms and the signs of Alzheimer's.
Sure. So it's going to vary, of course, with every individual, but you're really going to notice that there's increased verbal and physical cueing that's required. Often need assistance with just completing tasks that they would typically do. If they're still driving, you're going to find things like getting lost, a place they've always driven to before, it's taking wrong turns. Many times it gets to the point to where when you question or ask questions about their memory, you're going to see that they get easily agitated and very defensive, maybe a little bit paranoid that people are watching their condition.
Well, that has to be a tough time. If you notice that you or a loved one is having a potential memory issue, how do you know then when it's time to move into a memory care community?
Sure. So, you really know whenever it's very stressful for the family. You can imagine being in that situation. So, a lot of times people think about it and it's really finding that right time. You don't want to wait too long, but you also don't want to, make a move when everybody's not ready for this move. I think one of the best things you can do is really use the guidance of people that are experienced. At Brookdale, we have 30 years of experience in this. So, working with the families, providing that education, and then facilitating a smooth move-in process is really important.
And when you're looking for a memory care community, what should you look for in terms of the facility and the nursing staff, and what support systems should be in place?
Sure. So the experience is very important, but you're also going to want a very supportive and safe environment. If you're taking them out of their home, you want to make sure it's safe because it's important for the family to feel confident in who's caring for them. So that is very important. You're going to want to keep them engaged. It's not somewhere where, you're going to want to go and be kind of a, like set in a room or not have that engagement. So really keeping them up and going. We want to provide personalized care and think about what was their routine at home? How can we keep it the same once they move into our communities? So those are things that you would really be looking for in addition to just the caregiver resources and the support groups that we can provide the family.
How does Brookdale Senior Living support the residents, families, and everyone that's impacted by dementia and Alzheimer's on a daily basis? And how would a caregiver or family interact with Brookdale Senior Living staff while their loved one is there?
Sure. What's important too is it's not just when they're there. I think that what's most important is we have a mission at Brookdale. We want to take good care of people that are suffering with this and that are living with it. We're so dedicated to this that since 2008, we've done Walk to End Alzheimer's and we've raised over $21.5 million. So having that energy and that passion behind wanting to make a difference here. So it's really when the community and the Brookdale teams work closely with the family, we work closely with the physician, and we surround that person with all the care that is needed so they can live their best life. It's really helpful if it's a supportive environment. It's not just that mom moves in, it's okay, mom has moved in, how are we gonna band together and work together to take the best care?
I know it's a tough decision to have to make, and I also know that it's a very personal decision. Kim, where can we go for some more information?
Sure. So you can go to brookdale.com/memory, and there you're going to find information on out of our 670 locations in the 41 states. We have at least 350 that specialize in just memory care. So you can go there, find out more information, and also see how you can get support even prior to a move-in.
All right. Well, thank you very much for spending time with me today and providing this information. And I know, like I said, it's a decision that a lot of people have to make, and it's a tough one. Kim Elliot, Senior Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer at Brookdale Senior Living, has been my guest. I'll be right back after this. You're watching Talk with Audrey. Welcome back. 33 million Americans suffer from bothersome overactive bladder symptoms. It's also called OAB, and it's a highly stigmatized condition, and many patients feel embarrassed to talk about it or assume that it's a normal part of aging. Well, you don't have to suffer unnecessarily. My guest today is actor Holly Robinson Peete. She started having OAB symptoms several years ago, and she joins me today to share her story. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You know, Holly, what I really appreciate the most about you is that you're very open about your life and challenges.
Yeah, usually because there are issues that I felt alone in, issues because there were things that I didn't feel seen, whether it was autism or Parkinson's, 20, 25 years ago. And those are the things that I know that when I saw someone talking about something that has impacted me, it just made me feel seen and it just made me feel less alone. And, with OAB, this one caught me off guard. I didn't know what OAB was. Overactive bladder was not something that was on my radar. But like you said, I had these symptoms like 2 or 3 years ago and didn't know what was going on and thought it was just a natural progression of aging. I'm, going to be 60 soon, have, menopause, all those fun things as we get older. And I just thought, okay, had 4 kids, overactive bladder. I got frequency, leakage episodes, urgency, like it was getting really chronic. And I really wasn't paying attention to it until a girlfriend of mine urged me to go to the doctor and talk to him about it.
Oh, so do you think that if your girlfriend hadn't urged you to go, that you might just think that it was a natural part of aging?
Yes, I probably would have just continued on looking for bathrooms everywhere, mapping everything out, saying no to concerts and things that I would normally love to do, limiting my travel, a lot of things I was doing because of these symptoms that I had, and I wasn't able to really pinpoint what it was. But I'm a mom of 4, a working mom of 4, so how we put ourselves at the back of the line, and we're just like, just go with it, figure it out. So yeah, thank goodness for her, because she was tired of hearing me complain to her about it, and she was like, you need to go talk to a doctor about this. And I did, and that's when he diagnosed me with OAB.
Women don't like talking about it because, well, they feel embarrassed. When you went to your doctor, how did you start that conversation?
I was embarrassed, right? I didn't want to talk to him about it, but I knew, just like with other things in my life, that when I talk about it, then I get the answers that I need. So I explained to him what I was experiencing. He definitely diagnosed me with OAB, and then we came up and decided with a treatment plan, which was Dementia. And he explained to me what the most common side effects are: headache, common cold symptoms, urinary tract infections. These were things that I needed to know. He gave me tools and information to understand how I could treat OAB. And since starting Dementia, my OAB symptoms were reduced. And that gave me the opportunity to focus more on the things I love and get back to my crazy all over the place life, and not being limited to the way I was with my OAB symptoms before.
All right, so listen, guys. If Holly can talk about it on television to millions of people, why not go ahead and make an appointment to see your doctor or your healthcare provider if you're experiencing the symptoms of OAB? Holly, you mentioned earlier about the Holly Rudd Foundation. How do people get in touch with you there, and what things are you working on?
Yeah, you can go to hollyrudd.org. Thank you for asking. This foundation is like my 5th child. I am so proud to be able to say that we're 25 years old as a nonprofit, and we've been able to help just so many families impacted by autism, which my son is impacted by, and Parkinson's disease, which my dad had and my brother currently has. So these are things, again, that were really, life kind of hit us with these, and we wanted to provide some awareness and help and compassionate care for other families experiencing both autism and Parkinson's. We have great programs. We do jump nights, and we like trampoline park nights, and we have a great program with American Airlines, and we've just been able to really impact some change, and it was so important to do that and to have the conversation for people that weren't hearing it.
Indeed, and those conversations have helped a lot of people, so thank you for that, and for joining me today to talk about overactive bladder. So guys, check with your doctor and your healthcare provider. You don't have to suffer in silence. If you think there's something wrong, go find out what it is, because it could be something as simple as speaking with your doctor and finding that solution. The website again, Holly?
Timetogo.com, yes.
Oh, how could I forget that? Timetogo.com. And unfortunately, right now, it's time for us to go, Holly.
Thanks, Audrey. Great talking to you.
And that's it for this week's show. I'm Audrey Adams. Join me here next week for more insightful, intelligent, and inspiring conversations and information to help you improve the quality of your life. It's all about the business of living. I'll see you next week.